the markings, and they like to cut straight out. Who was gonna? She's working that way, and that's fine, but that's not my personal preference or preferred way of doing copying the patterns, because I like to see the markings, and that way, in case I have to alter the pattern, then it gives me a chance to do that as well while I'm making the copies. So I'm gonna show you that way. We don't need to make changes to the length or neckline or shoulder or armhole. Most of the changes to the pattern we need to make are here. Okay, so I'm gonna trace the whole pattern piece as it is, and then leave this part, and then I'll show you how to alter that if that's the way you have to go. So I start with making the cross marks around the corners. You can make dots as well, but dots are many times not as visible, and you end up losing those out of, those get out of sight, and then you kind of have to find them. And then I trace around the curved lines. I'm not going to worry about tracing the straight lines because that's waste of time. So what we need to do for this pattern is at the bust line, and bust line usually is about 1.5 to 2 inches below the armhole. All right, so it also has seam allowance, so I'm gonna make a mark right here, which is 2 inches below, and then we need to add 2 inches all together, all around, which means how much am I gonna add here?
2 inches.
So I have 2 seams to work with, 1 inch on one seam, and then I have 2 edges. So how much is that gonna be? Just half an inch, right? Because half an inch plus half an inch, and then half an inch plus half an inch is gonna give me 2 inches. So usually you take the number of edges or seams you have to work with, and you can divide the measurement with that. So I have 4 edges to work with, 4 seam allowances to work with, and then I have 2 inches. So 2 divided by 4 is half an inch.
So why are you, is this person wanting it enlarged or? Oh, okay.
Right. So if your pattern was okay, then, it matched the measurements, then you don't need to worry about altering it. But for this particular pattern, we need to alter it because the measurement around the bust is bigger than the pattern is calling for. So that's how
What
we're
if the
gonna do it.
pattern is bigger?
Bust is smaller.
Mean too big? What do you mean? Mean too?
It's a little
Pattern's
bit
too big?
bigger, yeah. And she wants us
So
to
the
know
bust
what
is
we're-
smaller.
That's a different way.
So we are taking half an inch out. All right. So to answer your
Yeah.
question, I'm gonna mark it, instead of extending it out, I'm gonna mark it in half an inch right here
Okay.
at the armhole. All right. And then
Can I have a quick
Ed-
question, please?
Mhm.
I missed, how did you decide to put that, where are you putting this?
straight line.
Oh, doesn't matter what, if you hit it on the corner and
No,
just the edge,
no,
okay.
Because it's somewhere it's gonna miss that corner.
I get it.
I usually just follow the straight line because
That's
it
what makes it
makes
easier.
your pattern look neater.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah. And then when I pick this pattern piece up, it will be easier for me to draw that
I
straight
got
line.
in a
with
little
the
late, so I
ruler.
want to make sure I didn't miss something.
Yeah, right here. Now this is a little bit of a tricky part to alter because it has a dart in here. So we have to alter the dart and follow that shape as well. So at the waist, we need to add 1.5 inches. So how much is that
3/8.
on one end?
3/8.
How many inches?
Same number.
3/8.
3/8. So half of 1.5 is 3/4, and half of 3/4 is 3/8.
Don't you need to cut that and put a piece in it to make it bigger?
We can just alter it right here.
Oh, okay.
All right. And that is exactly what I wanted you to see if that's not something you have done in pattern drafting class yet. So
We
1,
just started it.
2, 3. So I am counting 3/8, and that is my new waistline mark.
Okay.
Do we need to do anything here? We don't need to do anything around the hip.
No? Okay.
Do you want to or?
Unless you want to.
No, because that's what we measured to was
Right.
Yeah, so it was
What did
42
you want?
and, well, I was 41, so.
So I can just go ahead and mark
Just make everything extra 3/8 all the way down?
Through your lines?
Yeah, we call it
through your line. So
Yeah,
you
true.
can just go ahead and draw this line from your bottom edge to the new waistline mark.
Oh. We wouldn't want to go ahead and make it 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, make it so it has that same curve in it?
Because we need to end it to 0. If we go 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, then
Oh,
this
so
is
just
gonna
sticking
become,
it up here, not down there, okay.
yeah. If you needed to make the, give extra room for a bigger hip line as well, then you will go 3/8, then you will go 3/8,
So you're
3/8,
only,
3/8.
you're adding more room at the bust
Bust and waist.
The waist,
and
yeah.
waist, okay.
Less
gotcha.
room at the bust, more room at the waist.
More room at the bust.
Less,
Well,
Less-
we're
less
taking out at the bust, we are adding at the waist, and we're keeping the hip line
Okay.
measurement.
So you're saying you're chubby around the middle?
Ah, don't just say that out loud, now, come on.
Yeah.
And the rest of us are.
That means we're,
That's the
too
rest
much
of us.
fluoride, not iodine and silicone.
Can I trade you some of my hips?
Oh, I can give you a whole lot of those. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go ahead and
Can you come see?
trace the dart.
Oh, okay, that's what you
We're following 20, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then after I mark it, I wanna go ahead and,
Oh, I see what you did.
wait, why are we doing 20?
She's not
I cut out 18.
18.
oh, you cut out 18. Oh, I saw 20 here, so I thought maybe you did. Good
No,
call.
I'm the 20. She's the 18.
Oh, that's,
I
oh.
worked with so many
Oh,
numbers.
that's a
I
20,
know,
oh,
I
that's a
know,
20
it's
dart
fine,
there, I
it's
guess, huh?
fine.
Okay. Did
So
have a
we're
20
gonna
right there.
do, thank you for catching that though. So now we can see. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just kind of like made the dot and circled it so that I can see these.
That's why we have erasers.
Yep.
And then I'll erase the wrong marking because I didn't need to mark 20 and I did. And that's why you want to use pencil when you're tracing patterns in case you make a mistake, you can fix it. All right.
Oh, I see.
And then what I'm gonna do is, can I use this pencil? Yep. These lines are super hard to follow. 18. So you're gonna follow the line that you need to follow. Usually it will say close to. So dart always has to be marked at 3 places, 2 outer legs and 1 middle leg.
Where you fold it.
And I don't need to trace the whole thing because I can draw that in.
Question, I have a question. Now, since we made it, we're gonna make it, wait, where are we making it wider at, just from here, not there?
Yeah.
We're making it smaller here, wider here,
Oh, okay.
no change here.
But that wouldn't change the bust point at all, though? You leave the bust point the way.
It should be
at the
alright.
Okay.
Yeah. If we were changing like drastically, like really huge measurements, since it's only half an inch, it's gonna be fine. And that's the reason why.
Would be a little different.
Well, plus I don't want, since you're not as advanced in pattern drafting and stuff, I don't want you to get super confused and make like unnecessary changes and, have it turn out wrong. If it needs to, the bust point needs to be moved when she does her muslin, we can always change it there.
Oh, good idea.
So I want you to kind of like think simple. That's the only hard part about the staples.
Oh, staple remover.
Tape
Now,
is better.
there's some in the closet if you want one. Save your fingernails. Diane always uses those things. So
All right.
we're making a new pattern piece, right? We're not gonna use this anymore, we're gonna be using the white one.
We're
on the
gonna be
muslin.
using the dotted one. So
All right.
I'm done with this. I'm gonna put this on the side. I have all the lines that I needed.
Okay. Look at that French curve, Katie. Middle one.
Was that technically a French curve?
Do you call that curve rule a French curve too, or no?
Hip curve usually.
Say again?
Hip curve?
Hip.
Yes, you'd use it for the hip curve? No way.
Hip curve, French curve.
Although one of our big French curves is about that size.
So that's my center front seam.
Okay.
And then the only other line I'm missing other than the dart is the shoulder. line, and then the dart legs. I'm gonna go ahead and draw these in.
Yeah. I never heard that term before until Diane said dart leg. Oh, my leg.
All right. Now, do you see that I have the mark that I need to follow here? I brought this in 1/2 inch, and then we already have the waist. Now it's gonna be an easy tracing of the dart.
Is the longer lines for a reason? Are you gonna make this longer or, bigger?
I'll show it to you.
Okay.
So paper cutting scissors.
Right here.
So what I'm gonna do now is, since I need to make this and I need to fold the paper, the big piece of paper is kind of gonna get in my way. So I'm gonna, you can leave about 1 inch, 2 inches, whatever it calls for. Usually if you are bringing your lines out, you will need more room here, but I'm bringing this line in and I'm not gonna go out more than this. So I'm okay here.
Want me to take this out of the way?
No, you're fine. Now you're gonna fold on one dart leg. If somebody has a tracing wheel, I could use that.
I have to.
So this is a little bit tricky, but it's really easy technique to alter your darts if you need to. So if you can learn this, will be great. Perfect, thank you.
I have the paper too if you need that.
No, we're good. Thank
Okay.
you, thank you. So fold and press paper and make a crease line on one leg of the dart. Thank you.
I was just trying to see what was written on it.
And then what I do is I fold the paper, your pattern. I've tried it several different ways. This is the easiest way that works for me. Right there, where the apex is. And match your dart. All right, now can you see what I need to do?
True your line. True your.
Draw my line and it will take care of the dart.
Okay, cool. Wish I would have known that about how to lay it easier.
Now my line is not gonna get drawn in the
My
fold,
last night.
so this is gonna come in handy. Can you see that?
Boy, I saw what you did, but I don't see the marks of it.
So the marks,
Is there actual holes in it?
yep.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna follow those dotted lines and fill it in.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. Our pattern is altered.
Cool.
What about this other line up there?
So we're just gonna cut around these lines. If you're not comfortable cutting on the dotted line, you can take actually French curve. And we have a couple of these.
That's the stuff we're doing in pattern making.
Yeah.
This is the ruler that we use for necklines and armholes. And you can go ahead and place this ruler
Nice one, look at that.
to where you need to follow the
What is that
line.
French curve.
Oh, French curve.
That's a nice one. Where'd you
Right.
find that one?
Yeah.
We have the plastic
And
ones. but
then you
we
do
have
the
to
same
change
thing
it.
for the neckline.
That one look like it's perfect.
Place your ruler until you get that
I
perfect
think that's meant-
placement, and then you trace that.
Is this purposely meant for
What do you do?
armholes?
What do you do here? This is also a curved line. See, that's why I drew the curved lines with dotted lines, because I just needed slight marking. We can use this tool right here.
No, you're good, you're good.
So I'm just gonna, all I have to do is just mark that, follow the dotted line.
The other way. And they got it.
That's it.
Voila.
That's good.
So it's 15 minutes.
Do the same thing at
Yeah.
3/8.
But back will be easier because you don't have dart.